Joining us now, Democratic Senator from Pennsylvania, Bob Casey. Senator, it's really good to have you. I see you in front of your Senate campaign signs there. What's this change at the top of the ticket done to your race against Dave McCormick?
Well, Katie, good to be with you. I think it's given a lift not only to the campaigns in Pennsylvania, but all across the country. You know, the metric that is often used is how much money people raise, and that's interesting. But I think the most significant number I've seen are the number of new volunteers all across our Commonwealth, which can be measured not in the thousands, but in the tens of thousands. So that's an important development. But look, I think the reason why people are so energized is because they know a lot is at stake. They know that voting rights and women's rights and workers' rights are on the ballot like never, ever before, at least in my lifetime. I've never seen these rights both so undermined and often threatened, but also the prospect for restoration of those rights or strengthening of those rights, I think, is motivating a lot of people.
Well, what's the issue that Pennsylvania is going to be voting on? Is there one that's more top of mind than others?
Well, I think the debates about rights are going to be part of that. But I also think if I had to pick two words, it would be lower costs, meaning that they want to hear from both sides, and they're hearing a lot from me about how we can get costs down. Part of that is helping families afford not simply the price of groceries that have skyrocketed and the price of household items. That's why I've been battling on greedflation, but also the cost of childcare, the cost of housing. Just basic costs in people's lives. The good news is there's a big difference between me and my opponent. I've already voted for the great enhancement of the child tax credit, which lowered costs for families that have children. I've already voted in favor of the capping of insulin costs of $35 a month for seniors. And my opponent's opposed to all of that. He wants to repeal, McCormick wants to repeal the law that capped insulin at $35. And his party has done nothing to advance a generous version of the child tax credit. That's why one of the reasons I think we're going to be able to point out those distinctions and win. So I'd ask people to go to that website behind me, bobcasey.com, to help us.
So the Democrats have an ambitious agenda if Kamala Harris is to win. You mentioned the child tax credit, $6,000 for the first year of life. There's also a policy on making housing more affordable, better access to housing across the country, and lowering prices at the grocery store. They're talking about a ban on price gouging at the grocery store. These things are policies that would need the support of Congress. How do Democrats get legislation like this passed through Congress if Kamala Harris is the winner?
Well, first of all, obviously, we have to win, and then we have to have majorities in both houses, and we have to have a president and a vice president. And as you know, in the Senate, we might need the vice president to break a tie. So obviously, that's the predicate for success. But look, I think, Katie, on this issue of greedflation and price gouging, I hear about this everywhere I go. I just happen to be one of the leaders of the price gouging bill in the Senate, which basically says that if a major corporation is engaged in price gouging, there can be an investigation. Evidence has to be presented, and at the end of that presentation of evidence, a determination is made about whether there is gouging. But people want us to take action. They don't want us to just surrender to it and say, well, there's nothing we can do about prices skyrocketing, especially in the pandemic and post-pandemic period. So I hear about this everywhere I go in Pennsylvania. People want us to take action to figure out ways to lower their costs, or at least not to have costs go higher for the price of food, but also childcare, rent, housing generally, and basic costs in the lives of families.
Senator Bob Casey, thank you very much.